Remember Blockbuster? What about Hollywood Video? I used to prefer the locally owned video rental stores because you could find old Disney live-action movies. But there's one thing all of these places had in common. They carried movies distributed by the Asylum. If you were around during the video rental era, I bet you're familiar with the Asylum without even knowing it. But we'll talk about why in a minute. Let's go into their history as a company first. In 1997, David Michael Latt, a director, David Rimawi, and Sherry Strain founded the company. Interestingly, David Rimawi and Sherry Strain were former executives at Village Roadshow, a company that would go on to produce movies such as The Matrix, Sherlock Holmes, Joker, and even the Lego Movie. Yikes! That's like getting fired from a head coaching job and watching your former team win the Super Bowl the very next year. Anyways, the group started producing ultra-low-budget straight-to-video horror films in the early 2000s. This market was actually booming in the late 80s to mid-90s, but the Asylum seems to have arrived a little late to the game because they couldn't compete with larger studios. Although some of these movies are pretty entertaining. Stuff like Scarecrow, King of the Ants, and my personal favorite, Death Valley, The Revenge of Bloody Bill. I should do a full review of that one sometime.
He got them all. All of them!
2005 would change everything for the Asylum. With the release of Steven Spielberg's War of the Worlds, they came up with their own idea. What if we produced our own version of the H.G. Wells classic and released it at the exact same time? They sold over 100,000 copies of this movie, which is way higher than anything they ever produced before. Therefore, the Mockbuster was born. A Mockbuster is a cheaply produced movie that has a very specific purpose. Whoa, the Da Vinci Code! How is this already on home video? It came out in theaters like last week! Wait a second, where's Tom Hanks?
Empires. And one of the most powerful families of the last two.
What is the Da Vinci Treasure? That's right, the goal is to make a film that strongly resembles a mainstream movie and release it at the same time. It's pretty sleazy, but it's also genius. I admit that I fell for this a couple times back in the day. You're looking for the Terminator? Can I interest you in the Terminators instead? Maybe you want a copy of Transformers? Nope. Don't have that, but we can send you home with Transmorphers. There are so many of these. Instead of Fast and the Furious, they have Fast and Fierce. Alien vs. Predator is replaced with Alien vs. Hunter. And there's even a movie called Battle Star Wars. They literally just took Star Wars and added the word battle in front of it. Pretty shameless. And this one's hilarious. Remember High School Musical? I bet you'll love Sunday School Musical. They also ripped off the Avengers with Avengers Grimm. This is a series of superhero movies where the heroes are all fairy tale characters. It's really bizarre.
Rumpelstiltskin. Yeah.
Ugh, Rodney, what do you want?
You're telling me I can let other companies do all the work and cash in on their ideas?
I mean, it's not quite that simple. It's still pretty complicated to make a movie regardless of...
Shut up! Shut up! This is a huge breakthrough for me.
But as genius as this business model was in the rental era, I'm wondering how it's sustainable in the streaming age. Back in the mid-2000s, if you had rented Snakes on a Train thinking it was Snakes on a Plane, you probably wouldn't realize the mix-up until you got home. It was too late. At that point, they already had your money. But if you're scrolling through Tubi and accidentally click on I Am Omega thinking it's I Am Legend, you're probably going to realize it's not the correct movie less than 5 minutes in, turn it off, and find something else to watch. Walmart and some other retailers do sell physical copies of Asylum movies. I guess that's another opportunity to trick people. Recently, while browsing a local thrift store, I stumbled across a Godzilla DVD that I wanted to purchase. Now, it should go without saying, but when I'm buying a DVD at a thrift store, I always check the disc to A, make sure it's actually there, B, make sure it's the right movie, and C, to check for scratches. When I opened this particular case, the disc inside was not Godzilla, but the Asylum-produced movie Age of the Dinosaurs. Maybe this is their new strategy for tricking people into buying their stuff. Sneaking their discs into other cases at thrift stores. Can you imagine having that job? Sign me up. But the Asylum doesn't just rip off popular movies, they actually have quite a few originals. Their most famous series that actually became super successful is Sharknado. It's literally what it sounds like. A tornado of sharks touches down and wreaks havoc. They ended up making 6 of these, and I have the entire set on Blu-ray. I will admit I've only seen the first one so far, but it's pretty fun.
We're gonna throw bombs into the tornadoes.
It's too dangerous. Too many of them. We're gonna need a bigger chopper.
Claudia, move!
They also have a zombie TV show on the Sci-Fi Channel called Z Nation. And while it's not technically a ripoff, they also made a sequel to Titanic. There's not much more that can be said about that. Sometimes they manage to get some actual stars in their movies. Well, let me clarify. They have managed to get people that were stars at one time in their careers. For example, 80s movie star C. Thomas Howell, known for E.T., The Hitcher, and Red Dawn, was in a bunch of Asylum movies in the early 2000s. And in fact, he directed 3 of them. The funny thing is, his career kind of picked back up after this. Sometimes you have to reach the bottom to climb back up to the top, I suppose. Other celebrity appearances include Anthony Michael Hall, Dee Wallace, Danny Trejo, and LeVar Burton. And that's not even close to all of them. Another fun thing about the Asylum are the quotes that they put on their video releases. You know how DVDs and Blu-rays will sometimes have quotes on the back praising the movie by some critic or celebrity? Well, they have those, but there are never any sources. They literally just make up a quote praising their own movie and paste it on the back of the box. The back of Death Valley says, "One of the best zombie pictures in the past 10 years. That's pretty shameless, but also awesome. Now, you may be asking yourself, how does the Asylum get away with what is essentially plagiarism? Shouldn't there be some kind of lawsuit? Well, there have been a few, but there are way less than I would have expected. There are literally only 3 that I could find. 20th Century Fox threatened legal action in 2008 because the Asylum released The Day the Earth Stopped, a clear cash-in on the mainstream movie The Day the Earth Stood Still. However, it doesn't seem that this one actually led to a real lawsuit. In 2012, the movie Battleship was released, and the Asylum came out with their own version titled American Battleship. This led to Universal filing a lawsuit, and the Asylum changed the title to American Warships. The next year, the producers of The Hobbit sued the Asylum over a movie called Age of the Hobbits. Once again, they would change the title, this time to Lord of the Elves. But this lawsuit also involved a temporary restraining order that prevented the Asylum from releasing the movie on its scheduled date. That's harsh. They got out of stronger repercussions because they claimed that their hobbits weren't based on Tolkien's hobbits. Well, I guess you're probably wondering, are any of these movies any good? According to the general public, probably not, but I think they're pretty enjoyable. They're cheesy, cheaply made, unintentionally funny, and they anger rich Hollywood executives. What's not to love?
Hello. I'd like to thank everyone for coming to the premiere of my movie. You know, it was a lot of hard work and dedication, but after a long time, we finally got it done. Now, without further ado, let's watch.
They killed my hamster and stole my station wagon.
Do you have any idea what you have done?
What? It was just some loser with a Subaru.
I once saw him take out an entire army with a gel pen. The kind with the glittery ink.
People keep asking me if I've returned. And up till now, I haven't known how to articulate an answer to that. But yeah, I've returned.